want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Yes, World War III, everyone's favorite topic. We just love the World War III. We love the full invasion. Well, it's a bit prophetic. War has, for the entirety of known human civilization, been the means of acquiring wealth. Is it legitimate? Well, if you're a conqueror like Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, the Roman Empire, the British Empire, then yeah, war, conquest is legitimate business, right? Because ultimately, might makes right. You got a lollipop, someone comes over, slaps your face and steals it, just crying about it won't get it back. So yeah, war, folks, war. And so now we have a couple of articles I want to go over with you, folks. SHTF, definitely here to stay. And the potential of World War III, very real. Now, whether it's going to be a nuclear war, a conventional war with limited nuclear exchange, yeah, look out. So, Martin Armstrong, a noted YouTube personality who understands some medicine and understands some economics, understands some history, kind of like all of us. We're experts because of our exposure after months, years, and decades of information. I think we all deserve the philosopher's doctorate, a PhD. Yes, anyways, Martin Armstrong was speaking with Greg Hunter at USAWatchdog.com. And of course, you all know Greg Hunter, former CNN reporter who started his own channel, who then got kicked off of YouTube. He was becoming very popular, just as we were becoming popular here. And YouTube couldn't have us be more popular than CNN, not as little itty-bitty individuals. Now, back to the subject at hand, World War III. Martin Armstrong says the West needs World War III. Arguably, all empires need war to expand, to continue to put money in their pockets, wealth, because they consume wealth internally. They steal wealth through corruption, graft, theft, bribes, extortion, etc. And ultimately, they run out of wealth, and then empires collapse due to top-heavy, centralized control and corruption. Now, so that's what the West needs. What is going on, folks, with Russia? Well, something very interesting has happened. I was asked about the disposition of the American civilians who volunteered to go fight for Ukraine. And I don't know for certain their fate, folks, but a French reporter had a shocking story to tell upon his return to the West. That's right, the West. He says Americans are in charge of the war. What? Right? This French journalist returned from Ukraine after arriving with volunteer fighters. He told his news source in Europe, and he says Americans are directly in charge of the war on the ground. So, U.S. in charge of war on the ground, huh? This assertion, folks, was made by, this is the French news outlet, Le Figaro, senior correspondent Jorges Malbruno, and I did mispronounce that name horribly. I'm not familiar with the French version of George. Nobody chose that when I was in French club. Anyways, Malbruno said he had accompanied French volunteer fighters, two of whom actually fought against ISIS, right? So veterans, civilian, former military, veterans are the ones who look like they're volunteering to go over. Volunteers. Wow. So, and also, he said, this is his quote, "I had the surprise and so did they," meaning these other volunteers. "I had the surprise and so did they to discover that to be able to enter the Ukrainian army, well, it's the Americans who are in charge. Now, he also cited a French intelligence source, Malbrunot, tweeted that the British SAS units have been present in Ukraine since the beginning of the war, as did the American deltas. So special forces, military intelligence operatives. Let us continue, though. Russia apparently is well aware of the secret war being waged in Ukraine by foreign commandos who have been in the region since, February. I will go so far as to say that I know those commandos have been there for years. Years, folks, not months, certainly not days and weeks, but years. And let me explain, okay? Make no errors in judgment, nor believe me or anyone else, folks. Trust your own judgment. Look to history as a guide. Does it seem more likely the French journalist is reporting facts, or is he controlled by Putin and Russia? He's probably telling the truth. That's my conclusion. And I want to ask you or remind you to remember Vietnam. Vietnam and the war was run by the CIA under Mac V. Sog command. This is before it was declared a war. It was a quiet war. It was quietly waged by the French because Vietnam was a French colony. The French Empire, though it was smaller than the Anglo-American Empire, was still there. Small, but there. They ran Vietnam until they got put out. Don't worry, the CIA through Mac V. Sog, MAC-V-SOG. Look it up on YouTube if you want to find out who Mac V. Sog is. Anyways, their command fought a secret covert war, trained, did military intelligence, military advisories for the southern Vietnamese forces to fight the northern communist socialist army, known as the Viet Cong. So Vietnam was a war run by the CIA until President LBJ, once Kennedy was assassinated with a large hole in his head, until President LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, went full war and sent the army in. Once again, we have a country being struggled over by superpowers, infiltrated, coup d'etat, and then a secret war starts to be fought for years and years until it explodes or expands, if you will, into a wider conflict that more and more people become aware of. Now, also note, Vietnam was extremely unpopular from its very beginning to the very end and afterwards as a war that, cost American lives, fortune, bad, very bad, right? And Ukraine, they tried to popularize it. And they always do this with war. The first few months, they make a big announcement. The bad, evil guys need to be confronted by our military. And the American people went, oh, I don't think so, man. We've been farting around in Afghanistan. Didn't we just leave Afghanistan, a war we couldn't win against a bunch of, shall we say, camel junkies? Guys that are running around literally in the desert on camels? Afghanistan. I don't want to misquote their main methodology of transportation. Can't have that. Right, so we had advisors in there, then we had an invasion in there, and then we, not we as in me and you, but the United States government under Biden ultimately surrendered in about 5 seconds. He's like, we surrender, everyone out, run. But we're going to go up against Russia in Ukraine? Is he out of his freaking mind? Well, that's another question altogether, but President Biden is making public statements, folks, regardless of his competency. I would submit that the man appears to be incompetent, not in the general sense, but in the specific sense, as in he can't take care of himself. So President Biden is accusing Putin of genocide now. We went from, oh my gosh, it's an invasion, to, oh my gosh, there's atrocities. Oh my gosh, there's a potential for chemical weapons, biological weapons, nuclear weapons. Oh my gosh. Women and children, babies in hospitals. Bad, bad, bad. Now we're up to genocide. And he says evidence is mounting of genocide. Folks, genocide is the extermination of ethnic peoples. If you want to find out what genocide is, ask the Chinese government. I'm sure they could show you a terrific example that they're in possession of. Now, moving along. Genocide, huh? We are being introduced, folks, to American and British special forces working covertly in Ukraine, just like Vietnam. It appears that Biden is playing the part of Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ, a massively corrupt president who repays his benefactors with carrying out their will. And they sure could use a war, as Martin Armstrong lays out. Will the American people support it? Will they allow it? Or would protests go off the hook? The already, folks, massively unpopular commander-in-chief is reviled and not to be believed, and is in no sense a leader or a uniter of a country. So he's also going to get us into a war, and we're going to allow it. Now, I can't go up there and bring my torches and pitchforks and hand them out and then go march on the White House. I mean, only Black Lives Matter and Antifa are allowed to carry lit torches, literally, and light fireworks and fire them, right? So I'm going to ask you this. Will you rise and protest if they claim they need troops on the ground, that they're going to need soldiers and Marines to go in there? The same way we started with Mac VSOG, the CIA, secret operatives fighting, training commandos in Vietnam, and then ultimately led to a wider war. We're going to have the same thing. Is Ukraine going to be the next Afghanistan, the next Iraq, the next Vietnam? Wow, folks, it has hit the fan, and they're pushing for World War III. They're pushing for a full invasion. They're lying through their teeth. Only this time we have the internet. This time we have social media, and that's why I say we need your help more than ever. America, the free world, needs your help. So share the video, right? Hit the like button, thumbs up. And of course, set it and forget it. When you're done with the video, go to the main channel, Prepared Mind main channel, hit the play all button and walk away, and show YouTube that this channel and the news and information here is so valuable that it's growing in popularity, despite the fact that they just don't like us. Do your part, folks. That's what I'm calling on. Prep to action. Have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. But you need to take action as well. Prep to action. Take action, folks. Don't break the law. Don't do anything harmful or dangerous or mean, right? But prep to action. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. And are you prepared to take action? Set it and forget it, folks. Semper Fi, Godspeed.